Alright. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Smurf Detective, where I figure out if you've been playing against people who are playing on lower accounts than they should, people who've been throwing matches so they can beat up on noobs, or are you maybe just falling behind early, bad at reading the game? Or is your opponent a legitimate Smurf? This one was submitted to me by EMPhammer in the bottom right, and is accusing Void Ray Hugs in the top left of being a Smurf. Hey, EMPhammer, I'm in Gold 3 to Gold 2 North American. I'm fairly new to the game, about 4 to 5 months of experience. My main account, Wariosniper, is Gold 3 Terran, currently on NA. But I almost always play unranked due to ladder anxiety, and I actually think I'd probably be in Plat if I laddered more often. Well, unranked actually gives you MMR, it just doesn't show it to you, so very well could actually be in Platinum League. And we always say, please go easy, I'm bad, I feel like you're lying. Well, no, I'm not, I'm really bad. Definitely sounds suspicious. I'd already be thinking cheeser, if not Smurf, as we can bring up the APM tab. Oh my lord. And let's bring those control groups up as well. Yeah, a bunch of nice control groups here as well. In this game, I was paired with a Silver 2 Terran that started off the game with a cheeky, take it easy on me, I'm bad at the game. I actually eventually won the game, was super proud after seeing the score screen, and the opponent had 244 APM compared to my lousy 98. And in his match history, he would often auto-quit games. I whispered him after the game and asked what his real MMR was, and he told me Gold 2, then Plat 1, and then 6600 MMR Grandmaster after some pressing. 6600 means you're like ranked top 2 or 3 on the NA ladder, by the way, guys. If it's on EU, you're still like a top 20, 30 player. You're incredibly high, and you're Korean ladder, that's top 10 as well. You're one of the best players in the world if you're 6600. Let's just go out on a limb and say, nah, that person ain't trolling Silver League. Though it is the sort of thing a Masters troll, hacker, Smurf, whatever might say. Probably not a hacker, but just someone who's smurfing. And already this build is utter trash. So there's a lot of APM, but yeah, let's see. Okay, so there's also some evidence, guys. Let's quickly pause the replay. Let's actually tab out and take a quick look, shall we? So some images were sent through as part of this evidence of, look, this player, Void Ray Hugs, is actually leaving games a lot of the time. So they've sent me this screenshot and this screenshot. So this one just says, okay, the profile says they're silver. If they're unranked, there's not going to be... The unranked MMR is all hidden. It's hidden from them. It's hidden from the opponents. And even when you go into an unranked game, it might, if you're at high enough level that it shows MMR on the load screen, it'll only show your ranked MMR, not your unranked. It's impossible to see what your unranked MMR is exactly, as far as I know. You guys can let me know in the comments if you found maybe one of the websites has a way to tap into that in the API or something, or whatever it's called. This tells me nothing other than they were ranked in Silver League. Match history, okay. So they said they leave a lot of their games. Well, that looks like it was a 39 minutes to 20 minutes. So it was 20 minutes between games, 11 minutes between games. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, all in a roughly 1 hour period, since it says 17 hours ago. But that could be a 1.5 hour period. We don't really know. And if they're short games, that's kind of fair. So one of those is a custom game as well. I don't really see anything too suspicious here. Like 4 losses at once there. I don't know. This doesn't mean anything to me. So guys, if you've got evidence, go into the actual match. In that screen, what you can do, right, is you can click on one of these little things individually, and it'll at least show you the game duration, and you can show their build order. And you can see, oh, if there's a bunch of like 1 second, 10 second, under 1 minute losses, those are matches they've just left immediately, right? So that actually tells us something. But so far, evidence doesn't really tell me anything. Let's continue in the game. All right, let's continue it. Okay, so this player is spamming his Void Ray Hugs, right? Spamming their ass off. Not scouting, but neither is EMPhammer. And is going to be going for a reactor first into Marines, but is supply blocked. This depot is insanely late, like really, really late there. So is supply blocked a little? Otherwise, seems like, what have we got? Command Center's on 1, Barracks on 2, no army key. But the SCV that built the natural was on a control group, which means I think these Marines will go on number 3 in a moment. So building Widowmine Marines, not really the standard unit set here in TVT, because by this point, 2 Reapers and a Hellion could have arrived, and they're going to ruin your day if you've only got a couple of Marines, right? But EMPhammer's kind of sitting back for now, playing a bit more of a standard TVT build. And what is this APM being spent on? Let's look at the vision of Void Ray Hogs. Whoa! What am I looking at over here? How quick are they spamming through their hotkeys? Wait. Okay, and they've added their barracks and their factory and their starport together on the hotkey. Selecting the Marines on 3. Look, they're just bouncing between their hotkeys. Mega tryhard, and they're floating a barracks across the map now to scout? While constantly tabbing over and building things. And they're gonna do some stutter step with their Marines. There's no reason to stutter step in this scenario. This completely pointless micro from Void Ray Hogs, who is scrolling, is not using camera locations. Could have double tapped 2 there to jump, but you can see they're scrolling, selecting the buildings to build production. And now they're saying, oh my god, please stop. While trying to go into mech. I'm bad, okay, and they're building Banshee, Hellion tank. I mean, I'm definitely getting a weirdo vibe, right? Because what is this player doing? They're spamming like crazy. I mean, they've clearly got the speed that, like, you don't even, if you're playing this fast, you don't even need a rudimentary understanding of strategy to be winning at Silver League. But is this really a Silver League game? So the problem here is this game, right, is played unranked, is what EMPhammer admitted and said, oh, I might be close to Plat. The fact that the opponent is also unranked, probably, if you're both playing unranked games, how can we tell? What am I even assessing this? And does this have to be a diamond level of play or above to be counted then? Let's take EMPhammer. I'm in a conundrum. I'm in an absolute conundrum because I get so many of these submissions where people, I'm like, this is really interesting from the sounds of the concept of the replay. And then I get in there and I'm like, wait a second. I don't know your exact MMR. And we don't really know what the opponent's is because you're both playing unranked, right? Definitely it's not silver. I mean, this looks way too fast to be playing Plat, but at the same time, the strategy from Void Ray Hogs is pretty horrendous. Only scouting now. There's a Banshee just kind of sitting in the base, and they're spamming typing, right? I mean, overall though, the fact that they've just kept up SCV production, they're adding factories, starports, gases at a good rate, adding an armory. I mean, they definitely seem like a troll, Void Ray Hogs. But I don't know. It feels like they've got ideas of how to play the game. But that's about it. The Banshee's literally been sitting in vision in the base for a solid... Oh, it wasn't in vision! Now that the SCV's floated there, it's in vision. Let's go to Hammer's vision. Let's watch this from EMPhammer. You can see a big red dot on your minimap, bro. It's just down there. It was on your screen for a second, buddy. Oh my god, he still hasn't noticed it because his SCV floated away. Oh no. Oh, this is going to be a mech versus mech game.
Our SCVs
Banshee flies on in. Uh-oh. EMPhammer, you got to react, bro. Pulls the SCVs, but could have just F2'd that, but waits to go and manually grab those Vikings. And does try to pull those up. They will clean up the Banshee, but 5-6 SCVs go down. No real fancy control there. And Hugs even scanned to bring the attention of Hammer there before flying the Banshee in, which was questionable at the best of times. And it's now going multiple Ravens and tanks and just sitting them at the natural. Has really poor map vision. Only the barracks in the middle. No spotting units. No turrets, anything like that. I mean, I'm pretty sure Void Ray Hogs just dies to like any harassment. And he's just building command centers on location while going multiple Ravens and then into second starport. So this is like strategically, Void Ray Hogs is playing about Platinum League in terms of the direction. It's like you're just building a random set of mech units and you're kind of just sitting there, and you can see he isn't really batching things up. Like watch what we just saw. So watch this. Void Ray Hogs keeps scrolling up, down, down, up, down, down. Isn't clicking on the minimap, isn't using camera locations at all. So a lot of this APM is really inefficient. Now goes to the natural, and look at what happens when they want to make upgrades. So in a second, they're going to go, scroll over, they make one upgrade, they pause for a few seconds, and then they start the other upgrade. Watch that one more time. Watch this again. Watch the delay on the upgrade started, because this is actually wild. You can see the cogs turning. They scroll over, they select them. Normally it would just be you just tap the 2 buttons. This almost feels like Void Ray Hogs is reading tooltips, because... or is thinking, ooh, which one should I get, right? Watch this. We're on actual game speed. Starts one. About 2-3 seconds before starting the next upgrade. and is going ship weapons and vehicle weapons is kind of in this like, I'm gonna make flying units and ground units. And it's like, hey, Ravens don't benefit from those upgrades. They don't have an attack. So I don't know, and he's just building random command centers on location. So there's one Banshee, the only harassment that's come out of Void Ray Hogs. 0 harassment, 0 pressure, other than one Banshee rocking up at like about 6 minutes in the game. Doesn't have any defense or spotters out there to deal with harassment coming in from the flanks. Building completely undefended command centers on location. Strategically, this is utter nonsense from Void Ray Hogs, and they've been prioritizing typing in chat every time there's interaction. Oh, please stop. Oh, I'm bad. Oh, I'm bad. Now, they're clearly fucking with you, right? The question is, what is the actual skill level? If we're taking EMPhammer at their word and saying maybe they're about mid-plat, something like that, let's assume this needs to be at least Diamond 2 play to be 100% a Smurf, right? Someone who's purposely losing games and that sort of thing. So, is Void Ray Hogs a Diamond 2 player? Macro-wise, we're at 65 SCVs, 8 minutes into the game. 3 factories, 2 starports, double armories going, 4 bases up, 5th command center on the way. I mean, there's nothing to be said. The speed of play is insane. This could absolutely be Diamond 2 level of play from Void Ray Hogs, right? They're spamming their keys out mechanically. I mean, they haven't been dropping mules very often, so they're pretty bad at that part, but otherwise they were keeping up their SCVs. They're using their rally points to automatically rally their SCVs to their new bases. I mean, they're forgetting to do things like put on gas. They strategically are doing completely random seeming things. I got 2 Vikings. Now I'm going to make a battlecruiser. I'm going to make 2 Hellbats. Like, I'm going to make an engineering bay now. I'm going to make Yamato. Like none of this goes in a cohesive direction. So I've seen Diamond players do that when they get lost in a matchup, right? Especially in TVT, a lot of people like to just kind of sit in their corner. I'm honestly like, I don't know. Both players are just sitting there, and this is a very hard game to judge because often where you see players' skill is how they react and adapt to unforeseen circumstances. What if there's a drop that comes in the main and then some Hellions running behind the third? What does Void Ray look like under that sort of pressure? Who just scanned? Sorry, guys. Okay, so Void Ray is like, I don't know what's going on. Does know it's mech from the Banshee. Scans, doesn't see too much. And is just kind of yeah, chilling. I mean, there's not that great production. Does put guys on gas over there. Starting a planetary in front of the orbital, that's cute. I don't mind that, actually. Extra command centers on location. Crazy SCV count. Good tank count as well. But EMPhammer's macro is pretty good as well. The thing is, like I said, there's just no interaction. They're just sitting there and scanning each other. We're going to speed this replay up, guys. Nothing's happening. I can't tell how good players are, right? It's like if you watch someone play a single player game, it's really hard to tell how good they are in a competitive environment, but it's all about interaction and handling the pressure and reacting. That's what reveals a lot about someone's true level. And this is why I always say it's very dangerous to play a style in StarCraft that involves jerking it in your corner of the map. For those who are new to the channel, jerking it, I mean, basically, anyone who played PUBG, you know, you have that one friend who just finds a little shack and goes in there and sits behind the door for the whole game, quivering in fear and just hoping people will run in and he can shoot them in the butt. Yeah, that's a FAP shack. And essentially, some people play StarCraft that way. The problem is, your opponent can surprise you with a big all-in, and because you got so little map vision, you won't know it's coming. Or they can just kind of macro and be way greedier than you and you'll lose the late game. It also means if your opponent's really bad, you're not exposing how bad they are. So attacking and harassing, whether it's all in or a bit of light pressure or just, you know, queuing a few liberators into bases, it scouts what your opponent's doing, puts pressure on them, punishes them for being too greedy, reveals their weakness, distracts them. There's all these benefits to interacting in StarCraft. And when 2 guys sit back like this long, I'm always worried that it's like, man, is the better player really going to win? You know, what's going to go on? It looks like Void Ray has way more money. Uh-oh. Oh, Hellion run by. Hellion run by. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, so Void Ray's like, lol, look at this. I split my Hellions onto group number 4. I sent them in and didn't even focus SCVs. I killed a tank with them for some reason. And now he's going to try and just shove over here. So, I mean, there's a semblance of strategy there. Distract on one side and then get the good siege up angle. But the army is way better for EMPhammer in terms of the air. It does siege up in range, which is a little sloppy. And EMPhammer did lose the Liberator as well. Could just lift that command center to save it. Ooh, command center goes down, but wins the air fight, which in a mech versus mech battle, the Viking count and the air control is one of the most important things. So EMPhammer by default was kind of going for a logical composition. Heavy Viking tank, just 1 or 2 Thors added in to help win the air battle. Meanwhile, there's still Ravens being built for Void Ray Hugs, which is utter nonsense. And that attack, I mean, the Hellions could have split into the mineral lines and killed a lot of workers. They didn't. The push on the front was super basic. We're seeing a lot of APM and a good ability to just do lots of things from Void Ray Hugs. But in terms of strategic understanding, interacting with the opponent, I mean, there is none of that. There is none of that from Void Ray Hugs. And not only that, but Void Ray Hugs played a very greedy mech style and didn't defend the things that could kill a mech style. There was nothing defending drops, nothing defending an early attack. Half the time in the early to mid game, the tanks I don't think were even sieged. So, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Void Ray Hugs could lose to some Platinum players all-ins. It's a weird one, man. Ooh, okay, the tanks are going to come forward. The Vikings are right there. Void Ray Hugs not reacting at all. Finally, after the Liberator kills a whole bunch of units, the Vikings come forward, and EMPhammer will deal with that. I don't know. Void Ray Hugs, APM. Yeah. I'm thinking a player from a different RTS, maybe? I mean, they're doing a lot. Like, so many command centers, right? So they got a lot of starports coming down as well. But they're going vehicle weapons, not armor on their air, which is really weird. EMPhammer is going to split off, and EMPhammer is pretty decent macro as well. They've both got obscene SCV counts. 94 SCVs is way too many. The Vikings are winning the air fight. These tanks and Thors are coming forward. Oh my god. So EMPhammer is just going to win with a Viking push. This is it, right? Because look, Void Ray Hugs isn't changing the rally point on the starport. There's no survival instincts here for Void Ray Hugs. There's like, Void Ray Hugs can do a lot of things fast. Definitely has some sort of gamer mechanics from playing a game at a high level or being quite experienced with competitive games, whether it be MOBAs or other RTS games. But in terms of the strategic understanding, why are you still building tanks and battle cruisers and rallying them out to their death? Any experienced player is going to build Thors, Widowmines, anything to help turn this air fight around so that the tanks that you already have can hold their ground. And you're going to be on probably pure Viking production, just try to push back the air. But look at this, Void Ray Hugs is getting savaged right now. The Liberators are coming forward. EMPhammer is like, you know, you said you were bad. Maybe you are. And that's it. It just GG's out. Yeah, what the hell? And the APM, check it out, 240 average. Let's go back to the start. Higher APM at the start, lower at the end. That's a big sign, right? Of the fact that it's like, wait a second, shouldn't your APM get higher when there's more things to do? Not if you don't know what you're doing. The APM steadily got lower and lower for Void Ray Hugs. And Void Ray Hugs didn't really do any high-level fun stuff here. Void Ray Hugs macroed pretty well, but the unit composition, the 1-2 punch really kind of didn't make sense. Scanned the army multiple times, but didn't adjust the Viking ratio to try to catch up. Even with the extra starports, just went heavier into battle cruisers, whereas it was getting rid of the enemy Vikings that needed to happen here. I mean, this is kind of a funny game, because I get it, right? You've got a player who says all this shit, and that gets in your head. And this is why I never respond to players who talk like this in game. The moment someone in that start of the game is like, yo, I'm bad, go easy on me, oh. Treat me nice, daddy, or something weird like that. I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking interact with you. I'm like, I know this person just wants to pull the wool over my eyes and do some cheeky bullshit. We're not gonna buy into it. And what did they say? Yeah, it was this score screen. I think that made EMPhammer. I think they were getting smurfed. 244 APM to lousy 98. And the match history, which we already looked at that match history, that didn't tell us anything. I mean, there was a few losses in a row, but they didn't say they were 1-minute games or anything like that. Could this be a Smurf Void Ray Hugs? Yeah, sure. But I mean, if they're losing to players who are in platinum or silver like this, I don't know. APM once again is not that big of an indicator of how good a StarCraft player is. If you're in legit Silver League, 240 APM is obscene. But you know what else? 100 APM is crazy for Silver League. It's crazy. 100 APM, there's a lot of guys who hang in Diamond 3, Diamond 2 with 100 APM. Now, there's plenty of Diamond, especially as you go higher into Diamond 2, Diamond 1, who are hovering at 250, 300 APM as well. It could be, you know, a bit of a spread. But my point being, silver players, bronze players, very rarely go above 50 APM. Very rarely. Usually they're down at 20, 30, 40. So I think already we kind of confirmed, we said, look, EMPhammer is saying probably more about mid-plat. And you know what? Looking at the way Void Ray hugs, definitely Diamond won in terms of some of the general speed of macro, but there were still mistakes in it. And let's point those out one more time, just so you guys can really clue in on the details. Number one, opening build order is reactor first in a TVT with no scout. Incredibly greedy build order, could have died just to a proxy Reaper, any proxy or Reapers coming in early. Number two, forgot to build the supply depot. With a reactor first, it's so important you build that supply depot nice and early, because the moment you build 2 units out of that barracks, bam, your supply blocked. So this depot came down quite late as well. So Void Ray Hug's opening wasn't that clean. But then also later on, we saw things like the upgrades were starting at slightly different times. Like Void Ray Hugs was stopping to think about it. Void Ray Hugs also only went 3 factories into starports, which is a kind of janky way of going mech. The upgrades were kind of mixed between air and ground. And even though there was constant tabbing and keeping the money low, it was keeping the money low, but while at the same time not doing any harassment or pressure to the opponent, dealing with no harassment or pressure, and also having no prepared defense for it. Look at the vision through this whole early game. And yes, they're a Diva voice pack user as well. Anything could have come in the main. A single Liberator queuing into the main, a single Liberator or Hellions running in the third. There was no map vision, no defense against any of that. Imagine if 2 tanks and 8 Marines dropped in the main and sieged up there. Think about how hard that would be for Void Ray Hugs to deal with. Well, actually, maybe the Ravens could just auto-turret spam it, but other than that. Lots of clickety-clack, not that much strategy understanding, not that good a build order, no interacting with the opponent. I'm going to say this is a Smurf-free zone, EMPhammer. Sorry, dude. No Smurf detected, mate. Good game, though. Well played, taking down an opponent who was too busy typing in the chat to actually play a good game, saying they're trash, please stop, yada yada. But in the end, no Smurf, mate. Thanks for watching, guys. If you've got games of players who you think are Smurfers, don't forget to send your replays in. Info's down below in the description. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Goodbye and good night. Catch you guys next time.